Well, folks, I can't believe it's officially time here to do this, but movie award season is officially here, and that's the reason why we begin my first video of 2026 with my first award show prediction video. And for the past few years, it had used to be the Golden Globes, but for this year, it's going to be the Critics' Choice that are going to be starting up the 2025-26 movie award season that will be taking place this Sunday, January 4th, and it will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ENUSA Network, once again hosted by the comedian Chelsea Handler. Obviously, this award show not just honors the year of films, but also for the year of television as well. But for this case, of course, we are only going to be predicting the film side when it comes to the Critics' Choice Awards, because we don't do television here, since I don't predict the Emmy Awards. Now, this one is very interesting. Now, the thing about it with the Critics' Choice here is that this is a ceremony that is not really a big influence when it comes to Oscars, because, of course, there is no Oscar voters here at the Critics' Choice, nor at the Golden Globe Awards, but it's kind of a big industry thing, because, of course, the thing is, it has a lot of the, a lot of the actors and filmmakers usually attend this, but the thing is, with so many categories here at both the main one and for the television side, it's odd that they do not split this up as they used to, because they used to do that in the early years when they started doing TV ceremonies. Now they just do it both, like the Golden Globes and the SAG Awards. I don't call them SAG-AFTRA. You can even say the same thing with the Producers Guild, Directors Guild, and Writers Guild, but PGA, DGA, and WGA, they only have, 3 categories each over there on the film side, so that's basically about it. So, of course, as always, this being a prediction video, I will be predicting on what I think is going to win here at the Critics' Choice Awards, but also with a little help for this video, obviously, with the courtesy of the Awards Expert app, I'm going to be using, of course, the awardsexpert.media online here, showing, what is, obviously, the results of, how many people are predicting what is the most they think is going to win versus, in an average percentage. And I just want to mention that this is being recorded on January 1st around about to be 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So this percentage changes based on what I will see here on the Awards Expert Media that I will be screen sharing, doing a screenshot for, not specifically, to show you what is the most likely favored one to win so far. So let's start up with the technical categories first, and we're going to start this up with probably everyone's least favorite category, Best Song. And from what I am seeing here on the Awards Expert app, awardsexpert.media, it looks like I Lied to You from Sinners is 51% favorites to win this one, which went down a little bit to 7%, as Golden from K-Pop Demon Hunters is 43% chance, which went up to 13%. And The Girl in the Bubble from Wicked for Good has a 2% chance, which went down to 3%. So, and this is an average of predictions from at least over almost a little bit less than 2,400 votes. Not predictions, excuse me. And I am actually going to be agreeing with this, even though a lot of people have been predicting Golden right now because it's the favorite to win. And out of all the songs that are on the Oscar shortlist, it is the best one out of context. But I am going to say that because since everyone has talked about it's one of the best scenes in the entire film, I am going to go with I Lied to You for Sinners on this one. Now let's go into hair and makeup, and it looks like Frankenstein is the favorite to be predicted with a 94%, which went up to 2, with an average of at least over 2,101 vote predictions, with Wicked for Good at 4%, which went down to 3, and then you have Sinners, Weapons, and even 28 Days Later with a 1% chance. I think I I was intentionally going to go with Frankenstein here. But I think if they are going to award some place for this movie, if it's not going to be the same two design categories, which I don't have it going for here at the Critics' Choice, I think they might give Wicked for Good something in the technical category. So I'm going to call Wicked for Good on this one over Frankenstein. Now let's go into costume design, and it looks like Wicked for Good is the favorite to predict here, with an average of at least over 2,306 predictions, of around 52%, which went down to 13% as Frankenstein kind of is right now at 46%, going up to 14%, and Sinners going at a 2%. I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball on this one, even though it doesn't really show in the percentage chances, but I think because this is being that as you see by the screenshot, it was updated a little bit after noon. So it might go into a 1% chance here, but I'm going to go throw a little curveball here and go with Hamnet on this one, because I want to see if they're going to try to do at least give a bit of a variety of winners that is not just the obvious typical picks like you see with the 3. Now, I know I did originally went with Sinners, and I heard that a lot of the costumes were used from the canceled Blade movie. And the thing is, if I'm correct, she is 3 undefeated here at the Critics' Choice, because not also she won for both Black Panther movies, but she even won for Dolomite Is My Name. So if they give it to Sinners, yeah, you got to be careful with Ruthie Carter if she comes back and tries to win again this upcoming Oscar season. On to production design now, and it looks like out of 2,313 predictions, Frankenstein is the one favorite to predict with 88%, which went up to 14%. Wicked for Good behind with 9%, went down to 14%. And then Sinners with a 3% chance, which went up to 1%. I think this is going to be Frankenstein. I think this one kind of feels a bit of a good shot for Frankenstein, even though Wicked for Good is a possibility, but since it obviously won this last year, I don't think they would go 2 for 2 for Wicked here, but they could. But I think I'm going to go with the safe bet and say Frankenstein. All right, now let's talk about the best stunt design category, which is basically kind of like a closest thing to their revival of the best action movie category as they used to have. And Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is the favorite to predict with over 2,292 predictions, had an actual 92%, which went up to 3, with F1 the movie at 5%, One Battle After Another with 2, and Sinners with 1%. Yeah, I think this is going to has to be Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Like it is, if I'm correct, the final film of the main series. So yeah, I think The Final Reckoning would definitely take it, because I think it's also the stunt ensemble frontrunner at SAG. Now into original score, and it looks like Sinners is the favorite to win here with a 79% chance, which went up to 8%, over One Battle After Another with a 19% chance, which went down to 7%, and then Hamnet and Frankenstein with 1% each. I am going to go with One Battle After Another on this one. I did intendly to go with Sinners, but I could see this being one of the two categories that is between the two Warner Brothers films, between a neck-and-neck battle. But since Johnny Greenwood has never had a chance to win an Oscar, because I think he's only been nominated once, for Phantom Thread? I forgot what also he has been recognized for, but he's been a long-time collaborator with PTA, and I think it would be his time, since if Oppenheimer did not win the score category the last 2 years ago, I think I would have said Sinners. But Ludwig Göransson could maybe become the next John Williams if he wins 3 years, obviously not a long time ago, between Black Panther, Oppenheimer, and Sinners. He could be maybe the new John Williams, and we'll have to wait and see. Now they're entering into their long-awaited debut of the Best Sound category here. And out of 2,318 predictions, F1 the movie is the favorite to predict with 75% chance, which went up to 4%, over One Battle After Another, which is at 13%, which went up to 1%, and then Sinners with 10%, which went down to 5%, and even Warfare and Sarad, Warfare is not on the Oscar shortlist, by the way, with just 1%. So Frankenstein kind of remains at the 0. And F1, the movie, obviously makes sense because of, obviously, the subject matter, obviously, or what the theme of the film is. But I think I'm going to go lean towards One Battle After Another right now at the moment. So I'm going to go with the safer bet and say One Battle After Another over F1. All right, time for visual effects. And in the average prediction range of 2,305 votes, Avatar Fire and Ash is the big one here with a 96% chance, which really went up to 13. Even though it wasn't shortlisted, it was a write-in vote, of course. Followed by Superman with 2%, which went down to 4. And F1 the movie with 1, which went down to 3. Plus Frankenstein with 1%. But there is something. I think they're going to probably act dumb here. This could just be me, but I think this may be what the Hanacast said when he did his reaction to the Oscar shortlist on the visual effects. And the way how even Oscar Expert basically described it on his reaction to the shortlist. I think they're just going to do a blind check on this one and say Sinners. Yes, I know this seems very odd, but remember, I believe they did one with Oppenheimer 2 years ago, and even the BAFTAs went with Poor Things as well. So I think they're just going to do a blind check on this one and say Sinners with no explanation over Avatar. And the fact that this is Avatar's only nomination, I could just be wrong here, but I think there are some dumb wins Critics' Choice does, and I think they would give Sinners visual effects just because it's Sinners. Next up is Best Editing, and as we see here, One Battle After Another, a massive prediction favorite with 2386 vote. 2,386 votes, or 2,386 votes, which went up to 2, followed by Sinners with 4%, which went down to 3, Marty Supreme, which has 3%, went up to 2, and F1 the movie also at 2%. Yeah, I think this is going to be One Battle After Another here. I don't think there's really much competition on this one. Even when I was still kind of thinking, oh, Hamilton would still be the Oscar frontrunner, I still think One Battle After Another is still the true Critics' Choice Oscar frontrunner, excuse me. But I heard a lot of people are really talking about Marty Supreme to potentially win in at some place maybe throughout the season, but we'll have to wait and see. On to cinematography right now, and Sinners is the favorite out of 2,349 predictions with 84% chance, which went up to 13, with One Battle After Another at 11%, which went down to 10. Train Dreams with 3 went up to 2. Frankenstein with 1 went down to 2. And Hamilton also with 1, but went down to 3. So F1 the movie just gets zeroed. I think, from here, what I'm hearing, I think we are going to have our first ever woman to win the Best Cinematography category this season. I'm going to go with Sinners probably all the way throughout the entire season on this one. On to the Casting and Ensemble Award here. Sinners is the favorite right now with 70% chance, with which went up to 6%, and an average of 2,628 predictions, with One Battle After Another with 28%, which went down to 3, Marty Supreme with 1, and Wicked for Good with 1, which went down to 2. Yeah, I'm going to jump on the Sinners thing here. I don't know how this category is going to... Okay, it's... Like, the basic sum up of this, it's basically the Robert Altman Award at the Film Independent Spirit Awards, but it's just that the director is not part of the nominees with the ensemble and the casting director, because the Robert Altman is and also if the Robert Altman Award at the Spirit Awards was a competitive category, which is usually a special award given to the casting, directing, and the ensemble. This award's basically like if that's a competitive category, but without the director being nominated. I'm over-explaining it. But yeah, I'm going to go with the safer bet and say Sinners. On to the Young Performer category, and Miles Caden in Sinners is the favorite to predict out of 2,444 predictions with 82%, which went up to 18, followed by Jacoby Jupe and Hamilton with 16%, which went up to 4, and Kerry Christopher and Weapons with 1%. I almost really consider Jacoby Jupe, but I'm going to go with the safer bet and say Miles Caden, because he is close. Probably out of all these, the one that's very close to getting an Oscar nomination, because he's been kind of mentioned a bit if for a potential candidate. Now, I can see both of these two, Caden and Jupe, making in the BAFTA long list. And Jupe would make sense to get nominated at the BAFTA, since they do like child performers, unlike the Oscars. But yeah, I'm going to go with the safer bet and say Miles Caden on this one. On to Best Foreign Language Film. And as you saw, because there is now apparently a rule for the Critics' Choice where if a non-English film is up for Best Picture, they don't put it in the Best Foreign Language Film category, oddly enough. That's kind of like what the Globes did when they put it in Motion Picture non-English language. They didn't put it in for picture. But now they do, so it doesn't make no sense because this would have been Sentimental Values Award to lose here at the Critics' Choice. And I still think it will still be the winner at the Golden Globes. So right now, with that being gone, there was a massive jump that had, of course, occurred on the day when the nominations came out. And It Was Just an Accident is right now the favorite to predict out of 2,567 predictions at 70%, which went up to 63, of course, when that occurred. With No Other Choice at 25%, which went up to 16, and The Secret Agent with 4%, which went up to 4 as well. My original prediction was going to be No Other Choice because it appeared a lot on the Critics' Choice shortlist. But outside of this category, it only showed up in adapted screenplay. Same thing with The Secret Agent, it only showed up for Wagner Moura for Best Actor. So I'm going to go and join with everybody and go with what would be the Oscar frontrunner, even though it did not show up anywhere else at the ceremony as we were expected, because they were not going to go big on this film. I think I'm going to go with the safe bet and say It Was Just an Accident. On to Best Animated Feature and K-Pop Demon Hunters. Have an average of 2,408 predictions at 93% the most likely to predict to win, with Zootopia 2 at 5%, and Arco and Little Amelie or The Character of Rain at 1%. Yeah, I think here, Critics' Choice is definitely going to say K-Pop Demon Hunters, because this is more of like, they go with the bigger American film here in terms of this ceremony here. I don't think there's no competition here at the Critics' Choice. I do think there is a bit of a race when we get into after the Critics' Choice, when we get to like the Golden Globes, the Producers Guild, and we'll just see how the rest of the ceremony, because obviously K-Pop Demon Hunters was ruled ineligible for the BAFTAs due to not having a proper theatrical release over there in the UK. So that's definitely going to hurt a bit of its Oscar chances, I would say. But right here, I think K-Pop Demon Hunters is going to be a Critics' Choice fest. And now into the weird one, Best Comedy here, because this, obviously, we have no picture nominees, but let alone none of these films are nominated anywhere else. They legit went in an own direction here in this category. From what I'm seeing here, The Naked Gun is the favorite to win at 80% chance, which went up to 79%, probably when the nominations came out, with an average rating predictions of 2,736 predictions, with Friendship with 7%, which went up to 7, Splitsville with 5, which went up to 5, Eternity with 4, which went up to 4, The Phoenician Scheme with 3, which went up to 3, and The Ballad of Wallace Island at the 1%. And oddly enough, I am actually going to be predicting The Ballad of Wallace Island. I'm thinking I'm just going with it because it's the only one that is Oscar shortlisted, because it's shortlisted for original song. So, but this could be anything. Like, The Naked Gun feels more like this would make sense for like a Best Action Movie category, but even though it is a big comedy, so like there's probably no right or wrong answers in this category specifically because we don't know who's going to win this one. So I'm going to go with The Ballad of Wallace Island just based on its appearance on an Oscar shortlist, even though it's for original song. Are we ready for the top 8 here as we begin this up with adapted screenplay? And out of 2,536 predictions, One Battle After Another obviously leads with 94%, which went up to 2, followed by Hamnet with 5, which went down to 2, and then Begonia at 1. I think I was tempted to go with Hamnet because usually when the movie wins a People's Choice Award at TIFF, they're usually a good bet for a screenplay frontrunner status, and it still could happen here. I mean, they did give Nomadland screenplay here, but I am going to jump on the One Battle After Another train on this one. On to the original screenplay. Out of 2,543 predictions, Sinners leads the way with 90%, followed by Sentimental Value with 6, Marty Supreme with 3, and even Sorry Baby at 1%. Yeah, this is going to be a Sinners thing. I think this is easily going to be Ryan Coogler's big night. Obviously his way to an Oscar for original screenplay for Sinners. Let's get into what I would say would be the category of this year's Critics' Choice Awards that will determine where this category is going to go. Best Supporting Actress. And as of January 1st, according to the updated status after 12:01 p.m., Amy Madigan is the favorite to predict with 39%, which went up to 30, and an average prediction rate of 2,829 predictions, with Ariana Grande dropping down 32%, now at 38%, Tiana Taylor at 18%, Ignaz Badati Lilius at 2%, which went up to 2, and both Elle Fanning and Wunmi Masako at 1 each. So I would say that this is a category where there is no right or wrong answer. Same thing with comedy, but I think this is the one where if you say this particular person, you might not be wrong here, because we don't have a clear frontrunner status. Now, if you have seen my Oscar nomination prediction video, though, I am predicting Amy Madigan as the Charles Melton of this year, where she gets all the critics' prizes, but misses the bigger industry awards. So I am not saying Madigan. So I'm right now, and I'm just still kind of saying this because I can see the Critics' Choice just doing a blank check on this one, not also as a consolation prize, but I also see that they want her to have a very emotional speech, and she'll probably be crying when she wins the Critics' Choice. I'm going to go with Ariana Grande here for her lead performance in Wicked for Good. I think the Critics' Choice are going to try to build a narrative to see her have an emotional speech, her crying up on stage with a trophy, and just how her excitement. And the thing is, with Wicked for Good up for Best Picture here, I'm a little confident in saying Grande, since Weapons is not in Best Picture. But it could be any of these six ladies. Any of these six could potentially take the chance. But I'm going to go with Grande here just because I think they want to do a big moment of her to go viral on the internet and have her emotional speech be a big campaign status for her. This one is also a category that doesn't have a clear frontrunner supporting actor, and an average of 2,653 predictions. Sean Penn is right now the favorite to predict at 40%, but went down to 33% because his co-star, Benicio del Toro, went up 35%, now at 37%, with Stellan Skarsgård at 21%, which went up to 2, Paul Mescal with 1%, which went down to 3, and then Jacob Elordi with the 1%. Yeah, I was tending to go with Paul Mescal as an upset here to start for a lead performance to start sweeping the supporting acting category season, but that would have made sense at the Golden Globes if the Globes was the first ceremony. But since this is Critics' Choice and they're first, and with Hamnet not doing well with a lot of critic wins, I'm going to go with Benicio del Toro on this one. It's very interesting because it's been 25 years since he had won his Oscar for Traffic, and this is like his first big major Oscar precursor since 21 Grams. Like, Sicario was his last big major one, but 21 Grams was the last time he was big in terms of the Oscar nomination-wise. Sicario was definitely his closest one, but I do think this would probably be the massive resurgence for a long time overdue third nomination for his career. But Penn could be battling it out, unless they both split votes and Skarsgård would come in. So if you say any of the top 4, you might not be wrong on this one either, because this one is also pretty open. On to Best Actress right now, and an average rating of 2,819 prediction users. Jessie Buckley is the favorite to win right now at 87%, which went down to 9, with Rose Byrne climbing up a bit at 11%, which went up to 10. I almost considered Byrne here. I really did. And Renate Reinsve and Emily Stone at 1%. But I'm going to go with the safe bet and say Jessie Buckley. Now, I know Hamnet has not been doing well in terms of critic wins, but I do think Buckley might have the potential sweep. But I could see Byrne winning this and the Comedy or Musical Globe, but Buckley would take the rest of the industry awards. Normally, that's common in actor, where whoever wins the Comedy or Musical Globe would go on to win a Critics' Choice, and then whoever wins the Drama Globe wins to go on to win the Oscar. We could see that here. If Burns wins here, then she's easily winning the Comedy or Musical Globe, but Buckley would take the Drama Globe and then SAG and BAFTA. Byrne is also most likely definitely going to win at the Independent Spirit Awards here. For Best Actor, Timothée Chalamet. Yeah, I'm just saying him, but an average rating of 2,844 prediction users. Chalamet is right now the favorite to predict at 80%, but went down to 7, as DiCaprio did went up a bit of 4% because he's now at 12%, with Michael B. Jordan at 2, Ethan Hawke at 3, which went up to 2, and Wagner Moura at 2, which went up to 1. But yeah, this is going to be Chalamet. For Best Director, in terms of a rating of 2,661 prediction users, One Battle After Another, specifically for Paul Thomas Anderson, is the favorite to predict at 94%, which went up to 2. Ryan Coogler right behind him with 4%, which went down to 1, and Chloe Zhao at 1. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Paul Thomas Anderson, but I would not be surprised if Ryan Coogler takes this, but I would be more saying Sinners would be more of a bigger upset for obviously the big category we're going to be going into. But I'm going to still say TTA as the safer bet. And finally, for Best Picture, One Battle After Another is the favorite to predict at 93%, which went up to 4, with Sinners at 4, which went down to 2, and Hamnet at 1, which went down to 1, for an average rating prediction users of 3,121 predictions. I'm going to go with One Battle After Another here, but I would not be surprised if Sinners takes this. I would not be surprised if it does. Because if it does win here at Critics' Choice, then I am predicting it to win Motion Picture Drama at the Golden Globes. But I'm going to go with a safe bet and say One Battle After Another takes this. So with that, thank you guys for watching. You can follow me on the Awards Expert app if you want to see my full recap of all the predictions, as well as my early stage drafts of my favorite lists from the 2000s decade, which I had finished my Oscar movie marathon of the 2000s for a potential future video of the personal lineups to be up on YouTube, as well as the upcoming future tier list for the international feature category that will be up sometime soon whenever I will start recording that. So thank you guys for watching, and let the award season begin.